touch the sky.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the Spectrum Podcast. I'm TG. I know you guys would normally see my co-host James. He's not here. He's off handling an event with his family, and if he can join, he will jump on with us. But I'm here today to give you guys the scoop on the latest news that has been coming on within the sports world. So first, we'll start, obviously, the topics that we'll have discussed will be about the Tennessee fans who have been talking a whole lot of crap to Ohio State fans in the worst possible way. And about why they're just pretty much acting pretty insecure right now. About Julian saying getting media disrespect. We'll also be talking about whether between the rivalry of Alabama versus Auburn and Ohio State versus Michigan, which one is the better rivalry? Which one is the best? We'll also be talking about the Brendan Sorsby situation, as again, there's been news that he will no longer be playing at Texas Tech. And then finally, we'll be talking about the teams in college football, the top 10 teams who have the best chance of success for the next 3 years. All right. So first, I do want to get off to the topic of the Tennessee fans, because I've kind of found this very interesting with Tennessee fans. And I'm saying this to be nice, people. Tennessee's fan base has been talking a whole lot of mess lately to Ohio State's fans. And it's all related to the DGG situation. By the way, the podcast is brought to you by the theohiopodcast. So make sure you guys go ahead and tune in. And I will be on the OHL podcast after this show. But for Tennessee fans and what I've digressed from them and what I've seen from them regarding the whole DGG recruitment is that they have been, how am I going to say this? I said they were acting insecure. It's really like an inferiority complex where it's as if they forget what Ohio State did to them a couple of years ago, 2 years ago to be precise. And that's this. Ohio State put BTA to Tennessee back in the playoffs. And more importantly, not only did they put BTA, but they also, and I mean this when I say this, they also went ahead and just destroyed them. And not only that, but Ohio State has been depantsing them for certain recruits, such as, if you guys remember, Legend Bay, whose mother had, from what I understand, his mother had illegally signed his name to sign with Tennessee when he didn't want to go there to be there in the first place. So then they brag about this. Then he switches up on them and goes straight to Ohio State. So I want there to be understanding that Tennessee, when you're talking all this mess, Ohio State's got receipts. And they got receipts that you couldn't even fathom to believe in. I'm trying to be nice to you guys when I'm saying this, but you guys are acting so insecure, acting like as if you're the greatest thing on planet Earth. I don't understand why. I will never understand why. I don't get why. I will never understand what makes you guys think that you can talk the mess that you can talk. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know why you guys are acting so insecure. And you guys, and the other thing too is they also bring up the fact that Jim Knowles knows Ohio State's plays. He knows all about, he knows Ohio State's playbook. A team that has had 3 offensive coordinating changes in the last 3 years because of how good their play has been. Ask Penn State how well that went for them when they had Jim Knowles. Because if you go back to the Penn State game, and I don't have to pull it up for people to know, it was a straight up butt kicking. Whether people know it or not. It was. I don't know what people, such as at Penn State, trust me, people at Penn State will tell you straight up that anybody who actually thinks in their right mind that Gymnos did great for their program would tell you straight up, you are out of your goddamn mind. They would tell you that. They will flat out tell you straight to your face, you are out of your mind if you think Penn State did, if Gymnos did anything for Penn State. You are. You're out of your mind. So I need Tennessee fans to understand this. The DGG recruitment is great. It's a battle between two sides. And let's be realistic. Tennessee had a great running back about 2 years ago till they went up against Ohio State. He got taken out of the game when Lincoln Ransom hit him like no tomorrow. But I need you to understand something too, because people have also tried to say something about Ohio State's offensive line. Tennessee's offensive line is not much better than Ohio State's. It's not. It's not. Your offensive line is actually much worse than Ohio State by far, and it's not even discussion. Your offensive line has been trash. That's why, Tennessee fans, you've been lobbying for Josh Heupel to fire your O-line coach, because your O-line has not been great. It's just truthful. But the other thing is, too, and I compare Josh Heupel to that of Lincoln Riley, where, except the difference is, like, I'll say this, the difference is, Lincoln Riley, I know he's going to have great quarterback play. I know he is. Even if it's just college quarterback play, because that man's not great at developing NFL quarterbacks no matter what anybody in their right mind tells you. He's not great at that, no matter what anybody in their right mind tells you. He's not. He's not. But at the end of the day, I can give him the benefit of the doubt when it comes to having great quarterback play every year in college. I can give him that. I can give him that. So no matter how you feel about Lincoln Riley, I can give him that. I can give him that. By the way, check out the new background, guys. Sorry, I forgot to put this on the show. But I want people to understand that. Like, I think that when it comes down to it, Josh Heupel is not great. You had one good defense 2 years ago. That does not mean you're great. You are great. I'll tell you this, it puts you ahead of Lincoln Riley in that regard, but that doesn't mean your quarterback play is great either. Because the one good quarterback you did have went to UCLA. So I'm going to be honest when it comes to Josh Heupel, my guy. Well, for Tennessee fans, you don't have any receivers that are worth taking seriously. I'm being dead serious when I say this. Tennessee, as I did in a video long back, you guys can check it out on the Spectrum podcast. I did a video talking about the anti-U a while back. Anti-U's and NFL U's. Anti-U's being schools that are not great at developing certain positions and are not great from an NFL standpoint, period, across all the positions. Tennessee's anti-U in wide receiver. They are. You guys are the worst program at developing wide receivers there has ever been. It's not even a discussion. I'm being dead serious when I say this. You guys are the worst at it. You guys are the worst at it. Not only that, but when it comes down to it, when I look at your offense as a whole, if DGG goes there, like I know for a fact his uncle and his family believe like his talent is great. It is true. His talent is great. And wherever he goes, he will be great. But I need you guys to understand something. I don't care how talented you are. If you're the only good player on an offense where you have no quarterback anybody can take seriously, you got no receivers you can take seriously, your offensive line already isn't good, and then your tight ends are questionable as well, is that really an offense you want to go to? Is that really an offense you want to go to? Now, some people will talk about, again, the SEC. The SEC, people, is a farce right now. It is not the same conference it was. And let's be realistic. In this NIL era, it is exposing. It is literally exposing SEC coaches. All right. It is exposing these SEC coaches. It is. This NIL era and transfer portal era has exposed them. It's exposed them. It's exposed their coaching. It's exposed their coaching in so many aspects that you can't even believe the fact that man, we believe for all this time the SEC had good coaching. What if they were just relying on stacked players? That's exactly what they were doing. And that's all Tennessee is really doing. Except the difference is you're trying to pay one player and hope he can build your team into something. Whereas for Ohio State, they're building their team entirely to win a national championship. That's their goal. It's not just one player, it's the whole team. And if you have a game changer at that position, it helps tremendously. It does. But even if you don't get that one player, if you go somewhere like Tennessee, you ain't got much to worry about. Because he's at a school that really can't threaten you. Like, Tennessee does not threaten Ohio State. Tennessee is not the biggest threat to Ohio State. And Ohio State will tell you that they respect and will go up against Georgia. And, no, not only Georgia. They will go up against Georgia and Alabama and LSU. And Ole Miss would take them more serious threats than they ever would Tennessee. Because Tennessee is not that team. Never has been. So I'm just putting this out there for Tennessee fans. Stop acting so insane. Stop acting immature. Stop acting inferior, because that's how you're acting right now. You can bring up anything else, but let's be realistic. If you ever played Ohio State on the football field, it is BTA all day. You will never, ever be at that level as Ohio State until you figure it out. And like I said, I don't trust your coach, Josh Heupel, because I think he's a lot like Lincoln Riley. Because I look at Lincoln Riley the same way I look at Brent Venables, which is Brent Venables is a defensive coordinator cosplaying as a head coach. Lincoln Riley is a offensive coordinator cosplaying as a head coach. That's how I look at Josh Heupel. Offensive coordinator cosplaying as a head coach. Where you've only had one good defense 2 years ago. And one good defense does not make you that much better than Lincoln Riley. It don't. I'm just being real. And like I said, you don't really develop quarterback talent either. So, because the one good quarterback you did have transferred to UCLA, and let's be real, your quarterback play ain't been good, really. So, I will say this to Tennessee fans. Stop acting immature and understand. Ohio State fans, they do keep receipts. Unlike Tennessee, they're the only ones that can act the way they do. They are, because they're the only seriously, Ohio State is the only program. Ohio State fans are the only programs, and even the biggest haters of Ohio State will tell you this, that they are the only ones that can get away with, how am I going to say this? They're the only ones that can get away with acting the way they do, because at least their program wins a lot. They're the only ones who can say anything. So, like, be realistic. All right? I'm just telling y'all. All right, so the other thing that we can go into now that we got into Tennessee out of the way is the media disrespect Julian Sand has been receiving. Julian Sand has been receiving a lot of disrespect from the media, and I can understand where some of it comes from, but let me tell you why. A lot of people have written Julian Sand off as just a pocket passer quarterback that the only thing he's good at doing is just sitting in the pocket and being a quarterback. I understand where the notion comes from. I will tell you that now. I understand where the notions come from. People tend to believe that just because Julian Sand is, how am I going to say this? They tend to believe that just because Julian Sand is basically how am I going to say this? He's basically just working in the system. What do I mean by that exactly? Well, here's what I mean. What I mean is Julian Sand is a good player to an extent, right? Like, he's a really, really good player. But the problem you do have with Sand, and I mean this when I say this, is in big games last year, he played terrible. There's no if, there's no ands, there were no buts. He did. He played terrible. He did. I won't lie about that. He played terrible. And that is the only, how am I going to say this? That is the last image you have of a guy like a Julian Sand. It's his final 2 games of the season. Now, here's my thing. When I look at the Heisman voting, or the Heisman, like the list of the most obvious Heisman contenders, like the most likely quarterbacks to win a Heisman. He's fifth on that list behind Chambers of the Ole Miss quarterback, Chambers, Arch Manning, some G5 quarterback I've never really heard of, and Dante Moore. Those four he's behind. Now here's the thing. I can understand Dante Moore because he's a good quarterback, even though he really didn't finish the season all that well. If anything, if you ask me, he finished the season a lot worse than Julian Saint did. But I can understand Dante Moore. He's a good quarterback, would have been a top 2 pick last year, so I completely understand that one. I can get that. But Arch Manning, Arch goddamn Manning, brother. Arch Manning, some North Dakota quarterback, some G5 quarterback I ain't never heard of. Not North Dakota, but you get what I'm saying. Like it's some Texas State kind of quarterback. I forget. But that's who you're telling me is going to be ahead of Julian Saint. And Chambers, I get that he had a good playoff run. But I would still take Julian Saint over those three, regardless of how he finished in the playoffs. I still would. I don't care what anybody says. I'm still taking Julian Saint over those three. That is such an insult to Saint. But then also, the other thing that people use in this argument against saying, well, he's throwing to Ohio State wide receivers, he's playing in a good system and everything. Like, he's got these running backs in his backfield, he's got good tight end, he's got a pretty good offensive line, like, yada, yada, yada. It's the same thing we've been hearing about Ohio State quarterbacks for years. Here's what I'm going to say to the media and to everybody who uses that as the biggest role against an Ohio State quarterback. In the NFL, this is what you're supposed to do. What do I mean by that when I say that? What I mean by that is Ohio State has the talent at quarterback, has talent at wide receiver, talent at offensive line, and talent at running back that every NFL team is trying to get. When people always talk about the receivers Ohio State's quarterbacks throw to, I'm like, why else do you think NFL teams want these Ohio State receivers? If anything, NFL teams would trade their wide receiving cores for Ohio State's wide receivers while we're talking. I'm just telling you. Ohio State would and I'm being dead serious when I say this, Ohio State absolutely has the best receiving core of any receiving core in the NFL or any receiving unit, period. So when people make that dialogue about, oh, well, they have the best receivers and he's throwing to that, it's like, what do you think every NFL team wants, people? I'm asking because this is just a common fact, because I'm so sick of that being a thing. And now some people also use, well, Ohio State quarterbacks, until CJ Stroud wasn't really doing well in the NFL. And I'm like, look at the situations that got drafted into. Now, I'm also going to put this up about the whole throwing of the wide receivers thing as well, because of this. People, if you're going to use that argument against Ohio State quarterbacks, use that same argument against USC quarterbacks. Use that same argument against Alabama quarterbacks and LSU quarterbacks. Use that same logic against those quarterbacks who have receivers and are known as the wide receiver use. Use that exact same thing. I'm just telling you. And not to mention, too, if you're talking about Ohio State's quarterbacks not doing really well in the NFL of the 21st century, and only the 21st century, because they've had great quarterbacks in the past, long before. 21st century is the only time they have had good quarterback play in the NFL. But Alabama before Bryce Young did not have great quarterback play in the NFL either. So, let's not pretend as if Alabama's been great at developing quarterbacks either, if you're going to use that logic. And I'm going to say it again. like Ohio State's quarterbacks, Alabama quarterbacks were ever drafting into a good situation. I'm saying this to ask an honest question because Terrell Pryor and Troy Smith were both drafted. When they went to the NFL, they had to deal with a stagnant kind of racism where these coaches in the NFL thought that just because they were black, they couldn't throw. Even though their tape clearly shows they can, they didn't believe they could. No, seriously, people, this is just the true facts. They really did not believe Ohio State, these quarterbacks could throw because they were black quarterbacks. And they assumed that because they were black quarterbacks, all they could do was run, not pass. Although their tape clearly showed otherwise. Now, JT Barrett, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think he would have made it as a starting quarterback in the NFL, really. I think he would have been a good backup. And honestly, he's doing well as a quarterback coach right now. So, hey, give him all the props. People like to use Braxton Miller. Braxton Miller was never a quarterback in the NFL. Never. He was only a wide receiver. He never played quarterback in the NFL. He was drafted as a wide receiver for the NFL. Go back and check the draft records. Go back and check. The man never played quarterback at the NFL. So people who use Braxton Miller, I'm telling you straight up, stop using him. Stop using him. Because he never played quarterback in the NFL. He never did. He went to the NFL as a receiver. People will bring up Dwayne Haskins. That man was drafted to a crappy Washington Redskins, now known as the Commanders team, when Ron Rivera was the freaking owner. And I ain't got to tell you, and look, let's be realistic. Washington fans will tell you, Ron Rivera is the worst owner in the NFL history books. So he didn't even get put into a good situation because you had a stupid owner who just ruined everything. Justin Fields, he's another one that people try to bring up. I always tell people, Justin was never going to succeed in Chicago. That man was put in the worst situation possible a quarterback could possibly get put into. Only for him to make the most out of nothing. He had the worst coaching, the worst built of players around him, and a general manager who never believed in him to begin with, who never gave him a chance. That man was never given a chance, no matter what anybody says. He is a quarterback who could have been a franchise quarterback for any team if somebody just put the work in with him. It's not that hard, people. It's not. But people just tend to believe that these quarterbacks weren't worth a damn. That's just what they like to believe because of the stigma of it. And then CJ Stroud comes along. You got the Houston Texans trying to build around CJ. And CJ, his first 3 years in the NFL, went to the playoffs because he actually is part of a team that's trying to build around him, even though the Texans do need to do more. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm not the biggest fan. Like, I love what they've done with the defense. Like, you're helping CJ out by building up the defense. Good start. Now, build up the offensive line because let's be realistic, that offensive line is hot garbage right now. Now, I thought their offensive line had promise from his rookie year. They had promise, but they traded away a lot of dudes. The receiving weapons. He needs a true number one. I like Nico as a number two. He's not a number one. He's a number two. Always has been. He needs a true number one. He's got great tight ends. He's got a good running back room, but he could use a real number one running back. And that's all it is with CJ. And he still went to the playoffs 3 years, got eliminated in the second round, and he's been to the second round for 3 straight years in a row. So, people, give me a break. CJ's actually the one quarterback who's actually been given a chance to try to grow. And I hope the Texans don't screw it up. But what Julie is saying in this particular, out of all the guys, he was a Heisman finalist. Because again, people may wonder why I'm bringing this up, because this is what people like to use against Ohio State quarterbacks. The other thing they like to use is his height. Whether people know it or not, Julian Sayin is 6'1", closing in on 6'2". And he is bigger than what people are giving him credit for. Like, he's put on a lot more weight. whether people realize it or not. He's grown. He really has. He's grown into a bigger height than what he's grown bigger from a mass standpoint, and he's grown as a leader. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like as if Julian saying, and then also people tend to think he can't run. I'm like, guys, he can. Ryan Day just tells him not to. And I'm not gonna lie, his first season, this guy had a first-time offensive coordinator and still put on a hell of a performance. So I don't want to hear anybody telling me that this man is not a good quarterback and is not an obvious Heisman finalist or Heisman Trophy winner when he's the only one of the five quarterbacks that you have in the top five, and of the four that are ahead of him, he's the only one that actually has a Heisman finalist. He's the only one that is a Heisman finalist. So how are you not going to tell me this man could obviously win the Heisman? So no, the Julian Sayin media disrespect has gotten a little out of control. And I get it. His final two games weren't great. Guess what, buddy? That's going to happen. That's going to happen. I don't care what anybody says. That is what's going to happen. So, for anybody who actually wants to act like as if, this means much, that, oh, well, he's throwing to a bunch of Ohio State receivers and he's got this and he's got that and whatever the heck. The same old stuff. Understand, Julian Sayin, in my opinion, is one of the best quarterbacks in the sport. And not only that, for another thing too, because people tend to act like as if this isn't factual. Look at Fernando Mendoza's season last year and look at Julian Sayin's. Julian Sayin had the same season, literally, as Fernando, a little better, but he essentially had the same season as Fernando Mendoza. And everybody treats Fernando like he's a freaking god. He had no different of a season than Julian Sayin, except Julian Sayin was a better, let's say here, his completion percentage was better. And even in the Indiana game, if you go back and look at his numbers, it's like, his numbers look good. His play just looks bad because he missed some wide open guys, which is understandable. But this is a telling for him that he needs to get better. There's no doubt about that. He deserves the criticism that he gets for the final two games. But don't try to sit here and act like as if he's not a good quarterback. Don't try to sit here and act like he's not one of the top three best quarterbacks in the sport. Because anybody who says he's not, I think you're out of your goddamn mind and you need to get some help. All right? So that's the end of that little segment there. Now we can move on to the pretty much who has the best rivalry between Ohio State versus Michigan, the game, and Auburn versus Alabama, which is the Iron Bowl. I bring this up because Eric and friends have brought this up before on their show regarding the entire tweet from a guy named Crimson Vader, who's basically a ripoff of Buck Vader. He brings up about the Auburn-Alabama game being more of a must-see TV, while Ohio State and Michigan, the game, is a mediocre, full of manufactured hatred. I'm here to tell you something right here. That is completely garbage noise. Michigan and Ohio State have the best rivalry in sports. Not just in college football, in sports. This is true hatred between two programs who fought a war, or almost fought a war, for Toledo, a city in the state of Ohio right now. Or more of like that in-between bridge of Michigan and Ohio. Like they're pretty much in an in-between. They fought a war over that. Not only have they fought a war over that, but they basically have had longer than 100 years of hatred, where they have traditions in this rivalry that mean something. Like, look, I get what Eric and them say regarding like what the standard is should be for a great rivalry. But like I said, I believe this is the greatest rivalry, regardless of the respect or no respect I might feel for Michigan, even though my respect for them has lessened throughout the years. Since the cheating scandal, to be precise. The Iron Bowl is just good for the SEC. That's it. It's not a national entity like the game. The game is something that is viewed way more than Alabama and Auburn. It is viewed way more because they are a better rivalry. They are a rivalry full of real hatred, not to mention all the heated moments and the fights you've seen break out between Ohio State and Michigan. You've seen it break out between these two programs, man. These two programs have had pure hatred where fights have broken out, even the year before, and 2024. 25, 24, 23, it has been absolute fights breaking out. In game, and even after the game. Or even before the game, because every time Ohio State goes to the house, and we all know the house is just this big, long tunnel, Ohio State and Michigan be getting in each other's faces, and they be almost fighting in that tunnel. Like, you need police, legit a police squad there, just to keep these guys from tearing each other apart in the freaking tunnel. Not only that, but they even needed a whole police squad for the 2024 fight that broke out. I don't ever see that with Auburn and Alabama. And the other reason why I wouldn't even consider Bama and Auburn better rivalry than Ohio State and Michigan is like when you're talking about hatred, you're not going to root for your rival to win. You're going to root for your rival to lose, buddy. That's what you're going to do. You're going to root for your rival to lose. What do I mean by that? Auburn and Alabama have been nothing more than kissing cousins who root for each other to go win a national championship with the SEC, for the SEC, right? You will never see Ohio State or Michigan fans ever root for each other's teams. Our favorite teams are our favorite teams and the teams that go up against our rivals. Those are our favorite teams. Whoever's playing our rivals is our second favorite team. That's the team we're rooting for. Like, for instance, when Ohio State was playing Tennessee, did you think Michigan fans were rooting for Tennessee to beat Ohio State? No, they weren't. They were rooting for Tennessee to whoop Ohio State's ass. Just like Ohio State was rooting for Bama to beat the brakes off Michigan. They were rooting for Bama. They were rooting for Texas. They root against their rivals every year. You will never see Ohio State and Michigan fans, Cheatigan fans to be precise, you will never ever see that happen. You will never see Ohio State fans and Cheatigan fans ever root for their rivals, while Auburn and Alabama do that all the time. You root for each other. You're kissing cousins. That's why in the Big Ten, the rivalries are so much better. Like, whether you people know it or not, Big Ten rivalries actually outrank SEC rivalries. They actually draw way more. Because what you see in the Big Ten is rivalries matter. They're like, hey, I hope you do good, but I hope my rival over here gets put in the dirt. Like, you'll see Big Ten fans, like, for instance, a great example would be like, let's see here, Iowa's rivals, such as Wisconsin, right? I think is a rival of theirs. As a matter of fact, no, I think they're more of a rival of Minnesota. So let's just say that. The Minnesota-Wisconsin Axe. Yeah, pretty much. They're rivals. You will have Iowa fans who will tell Ohio State, hey, good luck at your game, bro. I hope you guys go win your bowl game, but I hope Wisconsin go get their teeth kicked in. That has happened a lot. Or in the case of Wisconsin, who hasn't been to a bowl game in a while, they always tell Ohio State or any other team in the Big Ten, hey, I hope you guys go ahead and win your game, bro, but I hope Minnesota get their teeth kicked in. Yeah, I want them to get beat. That's just how it is in these rivalries in the Big Ten, man. They can root for the other teams in the Big Ten. But they won't root for their rivals. They want their rivals to get their teeth kicked in. Even if it's by an SEC team they cannot stand, they will take that every day. They will take that every day. Every day. They will take that. But that's why that's one of the biggest reasons to why Auburn, and not to mention too, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Alabama and Auburn cancel their rivalry for years because of something stupid that happened years ago? I know Chris and them had brought it up on there. But yeah, y'all canceled your rivalry for something completely stupid. Like Ohio State would have the right to cancel their rivalry against Michigan for the cheating scandal. Like that's something you can. That's something you can. And you can't say that Michigan has soiled the rivalry because of their cheating designations. That's completely fair. But they're not. If anything, the rivalry has gotten filled with even more hatred because of the scandal. And now Ohio State and Ohio State's fans want to go knock the Wolverines' teeth in because of that scandal that had cost them everything, had cost people their legacy. Now, it's not only the worst thing that ever happened to Ohio State, but even Ohio State can tell you it might have been the greatest thing because it got them to be better as a program and be better as a football team. But I think it's really enhanced the rivalry by a lot. I do. It's enhanced the rivalry, if you ask me. So, when I look at this whole situation between Ohio State, Michigan, Bama, Auburn, the game versus the Iron Bowl, I'm taking the game every time because the game has more of an electric feel. There's more hatred, and more importantly, you will see more memorable moments that come out of Ohio State, Michigan than you've ever seen out of Auburn and Alabama. As a matter of fact, the only one memory you have of honestly, the two memories you have. One is when Auburn beat Bama in the Iron Bowl in 2017. That is the best moment you ever see for Auburn. But the second one is literally the that fourth down touchdown that Alabama got against you guys when Nick Saban was still coaching. If I'm not mistaken, that might have been 2023. Yeah, that was 2023 with Jalen Miro. That is the greatest moment that you will see in Auburn and Alabama's Iron Bowl history. That is the greatest moment you've ever seen in the Iron Bowl, and really the only two moments. For me, anyway, because I've watched the Iron Bowl since I was a kid, man. I can't remember any other moments other than 2017 and 2023. Those are the only moments I can really remember. Other than that, the Iron Bowl ain't got no real meaning. They ain't got no moments, no none of that. Whereas with Ohio State and Michigan, you can recall countless moments in those games. And even after the games, you can recall countless moments. It's just factual. All right, guys, I'll take a little bit of a break, and when I come back on, I will be doing the final two of the show, which will be obviously the Brendan Sorsby situation where he's no longer playing for Texas Tech, and the situation also regarding the Big 12, and you will also see us talk about the list I have of the top 10 teams that have a great future for the next 3 years. I'll be right back after this. All right, guys, we're back. Now let's talk about the Brendan Sorsby situation. The Brendan Sorsby situation has become very, how am I going to say this? A very concerning one. Now, I will say this. Brendan Sorsby is no longer playing for Texas Tech. He will be entering the NFL supplemental draft, which is the best possible thing that could have happened. Thank the Lords for that. Thank the Lords that we don't have to deal with these guys or deal with the fact that that we are allowing this to continue to happen is what I will say. I'll tell you guys that right now. Thank the Lords that we're dealing with this no more. Thank the Lords. But apparently there's been more to the story than we realize, because apparently not only is Texas Tech in some trouble, but so is the Big 12, because apparently there might have been some cover-up going on the Big 12's part. Now, the Big 12 did threaten to take some action against Texas Tech when it comes to federal court. But they might also be in trouble because there was some regarding, like, maybe the Big 12, some Big 12 officials may have been part of covering this up. So I don't, like, I don't not know if any, there hasn't been any information that's come out since, but I will say that is bad for pretty much the Big 12 and bad for Texas Tech, because if you've been covering this up the entire time, I'm not gonna lie, that might be very catastrophic for you guys. I will not lie about that. That might be very, very, very catastrophic. So, I'll keep in touch with the situation to see if there's more information that comes out about it. But as far as I'm concerned, that has been the newest information that's come out about the Brendan Sorsby situation. He will be entering the supplemental draft. We'll like to discuss where he'll go. And I want you guys to put down in the comment section of the video regarding who you guys think has the best rivalry between Alabama and between the Iron Bowl and the game. Who do you guys think has the best rivalry? And I want you to also put down, where do you think Brendan Sorsby will end up getting drafted? Where do you think he'll end up in the NFL? Put it in the comment section down below when this video ends. But yeah, no, I really do hope that there's something done about this whole thing, because this Brendan Sorsby situation has gotten pretty out of control. So thank God that's over with and we ain't got to worry about it. Now, the final piece of the show that we can get to is all about the top 10 teams in all of college football that have the best future for the next 3 years. Top 10 teams. I have the list right here. Obviously, at number 1, you got Ohio State. Number 2, you got Georgia. 3, Oregon. 4, Texas Tech. 5, Indiana. 6, Notre Dame. 7, Texas Tech. 8, Texas. 9, Penn State. And 10, Miami. Now, these are the 10 schools I believe that have the best. Now, Ohio State, it's obvious because every single year, they've never given you a reason to doubt that they're going to be at the top every single year. They've never given you a reason to doubt them. So I won't start now. I won't. I'm sorry, people. I will not start doubting them until otherwise. I won't. And I'm actually happy too, because in all fairness, it makes so much sense that they're the one team you would think could and absolutely would have a lot of success. They are. They're the one team you absolutely can think highly of regarding out of all of these teams, really. Because they're the ones who have been the most consistent. They're the ones who have been the most real, is the better way to put it. And they're the ones who have been the most, honestly, the most consistent out of anybody in all of college football. So when we think about it, when talking about Ohio State, it's no-brainer to put them at number 1. That's a no-brainer, in my opinion. No-brainer. Now, when we're talking about Georgia, now here's the thing. Georgia will still be number 2 because until they have a complete fall off, right now they're still number 2 because they're playoff contenders, and they're national title contenders. Like Ohio State, they're going to be continuous national title and playoff contenders until otherwise. Now, while Georgia may be stagnant right now, they're still in the best position for the next 3 years out of any other team right now, because of the fact that They will always be in that contest until we see otherwise. And I think that'll continue to be the case for the next 3 years. I do. That'll continue to be the case for the next 3 years. Now, Oregon is at number 3. And honestly, they're at number 3 for the same reason the Texas Tech Raiders are number 4. It is the fact that these guys have the money and the resources to compete, basically. Now, I will not have them higher than Georgia. I will not have Oregon or Texas Tech really higher than Georgia because I do not trust their coaching. I'm not going to lie, I don't. Now, I do think Texas Tech got some good coaches, same with Oregon. I'm talking about overall. I do not believe that on a field with teams like Ohio State or Georgia or even Indiana, from what I've seen of Oregon, they have the coaching to keep up with those guys. As far as what I'm saying is, you will have the talent to keep the game competitive. But when it comes to on-the-field coaching, you will get out-coached more times than not. You will be in the game, but you will be out-coached at times. And that is Oregon's biggest problem, is they will get out-coached by Kirby Smart. I don't care what anybody says. Kirby Smart will out-coach these guys. He will out-coach Dan Lanning more times than not. He won't out-coach Ryan Day. Ryan Day is the one coach that he cannot out-coach. And even Georgia fans have admitted to the fact that Ryan Day is a better coach than Kirby Smart. But Dan Lanning ain't there yet. I got to see him do more as far as winning against these top-rated teams for me to believe that to believe that Oregon can be at that level. But they're top 3 regardless because of he does got a good coaching staff that'll keep them as playoff contenders every year. I do think they're national title contenders. Don't get it twisted. Like, Oregon are national title contenders, regardless of what anybody tells you. But I'm not going to go all in because I think they're more national title contenders moving forward than anybody believes. They are national title contenders. It's just that they need to work on their coaching game more so. Same for the Texas Tech Raiders, as I mentioned. It's the same thing for them. They will have the money to compete because of the billionaire owner. I don't care what anybody says at this point. He's an owner. Will always keep them competitive. But I do want to see Texas Tech in big games because after what I saw for them against Oregon, I'm like, I'm kind of hesitant on this one. I think that they'll be a good team. They'll be a playoff contender every year because of it. But they do have good coaching. I can't lie. It's just that I got to see them in the big games more for me to really, truly believe in them. Now, again, people may understand why is it that I have them above Indiana. It's the same reason. Like, I like Kirk Cignetti. I love Kirk Cignetti as a coach. Even though he's an arrogant fool at times, I love Kirk Cignetti as a head coach. I do. I love him as a head coach. But I do not love what Indiana will be moving forward as far as, like, I don't think they'll be national title contenders every year. They'll be playoff contenders. I'm not going to deny that at all. Indiana are playoff contenders for the next 3 years. For the next 3 years, they are playoff contenders. No doubt about it. Texas Tech is Big 12, good, pretty mid for the rest of it. I'll tell you this, Troy, and thank you for the comment, Troy. I love you. Texas Tech is good. The Big 12 is good. I'll give you that. That is true. But I'm telling you that I want to see Texas Tech against teams like be able to go toe-to-toe. Because after what I saw against Oregon, I'm like, they're not there yet. They'll be playoff contenders every year, but they're not there yet. Because I think Oregon are national title contenders every year. The question is, will they win the national title? That's the question. That's the question, more so than anything, is can they win the national championship? That is the question. The other thing as well, and I'll bring this up as well, but again, with Indiana, and I'll say this again, they're a team I know will be a national title contender once every maybe 10 years. They'll be playoff contenders for sure. For dang sure they will be playoff contenders. I have no denying in that. But I do not believe in them as national title contenders every single year. Like how I see with Indiana fans, they try to tell me or tell everybody else that they are national title contenders. You are not. No matter how you spin it, you are not national title contenders. You are not. You are not. You will compete for the playoffs every single year, but you will not be elite national title contenders every single year. You won't. You won't. You just won't. So it's just the facts. Indiana fans don't have to like it. If you ask me, they don't have to. They don't have to. It's just me being honest with them. Like, you'll be playoff contenders every year, but you won't be national title contenders every year. I think you'd be lying to yourself if you think you are. I do. I think you're lying to yourself at that point. I really do. I really do. I think you're lying to yourself. Troy, I need to see better recruiting out of Indiana before I believe they can do this year in and year out. Now, here's the reality, Troy. That is the other thing, too. They do need to do better in recruiting. That is the facts. Now, the recruiting of the old ways is dead, in a sense. Well, not dead, but it's like having the most players doesn't matter as it once did. It doesn't have as much meaning as it once did, and that is what's so disappointing about this whole thing is. But it still is a lifeline because you have to have good recruiting regardless of the such. So even though recruiting might not mean as much as it once used to, you still have to have good recruiting on a day-to-day basis. Because if you don't, it's not going to go well. Like, for instance, one thing I can say about Indiana, Troy, is this. Why is it that we believe that their recruiting is not great? It's because of their offensive line recruitment. Their offensive line recruiting class is absolutely awful right now. So until they get more players coming out, it's like they are a team you can't really believe in fully, but they will be able to compete because of what Cignetti did at Indiana. Most of them players were from his JMU. They had chemistry. Going mostly portal year after year, we'll see how that works. Actually, it doesn't work all the time. It'll work every once in a while, but you got to be smart about it. Like, I think I see what Curt Cignetti's trying to do. He's trying to be more, how am I going to say this? He's trying to kind of do what Ryan Day's already doing, which is he's trying to be more where he can get good recruits without having the best recruiting class, but also getting good portal players that fit his culture. Guys, give me one second. Sorry, guys. Had to list something. But but Troy, you're right. The JMU players, he did have great JMU players. And let me say this. Fernando coming from Cal, people try to act like Cignetti developed him. He didn't. He was already developed by the time he came out. But he was already there. Like, he's the same player he was at Cal. He just was in a better situation. That's the difference. He was the same player as he was at Cal, just in a much better situation. That's the only difference. And to be honest, it's like I want to see how he develops Josh Hoover. That is my question. I want to see how well he can develop Josh Hoover, because if he can't develop Josh Hoover, there's gonna be some problems. So Troy, you are right about that. He did have JMU, but I do believe Indiana will be playoff contenders every year under Cignetti. They won't be national title contenders every year. They'll just be national title contenders once every 10 years, maybe 15, maybe 20. They'll be that every once in a while, but they won't be that consistently. Honestly, the rest of this list is just based on who will be playoff contenders, because I believe Georgia and Ohio State will be national title contenders, and Oregon are national title contenders every year. Those three teams I know are national title contenders every year. Even though my feelings about Oregon and their development, I feel like they're just like the SEC, where they acquire talent, but they don't develop them as well. I'll tell you this, I like them better than I like USC. I still think they'll be national title contenders every year just because Dan Lanning has gotten them far. He's gotten them to the semifinals. He just needs to win a semifinals, win a national championship, because he's got the ability to do it. It's just based on what can he do. Now we move to Notre Dame. Now, I think they're set great for the next 3 years. I know for a fact Chris is going to hate this. But look, say whatever you want about Marcus Freeman. He's been a good head coach. They got a good team. They'll be playoff contenders every single year moving forward until said otherwise. And I mean that. Like, they will be. They'll be good playoff contenders every single year. And that won't change. Now, it only changes if they start playing. Now, and the other thing that helps them is the fact they have a crappy schedule. So, that helps. But that don't really mean much at the end of the day. So it's like they'll always be playoff contenders just because of the schedule they have. But if they lose 2 games, they're going to be on the rough end. So they'll be playoff contenders every year. Same with Texas A&M and same with Texas. If I'm being honest, both these teams are, in my opinion, almost the same. I think that both those teams, Texas and Texas A&M, will be playoff contenders every year. Texas A&M, they've been a playoff contender under Mike Elko. He's a great head coach. I love Mike Elko. I think he's a good head coach. I think he'll do good at Texas A&M, and I think he'll do even well. But Texas has been to the playoffs twice. They've been to the semifinals. They've come close before, so I can give Texas that. But I am looking to see how Steve Sarkisian does this year, because for Steve, it is interesting to see how well your team will do moving forward. When it comes to this whole thing, because if he doesn't get to the playoffs this year, it's not going to be great for him. I'm just telling you that now. So we'll see how it goes. Penn State and Miami. Now, I'll tell you this. When it comes to Penn State and Miami, I believe that both those teams will be contenders in the playoffs. I won't lie. Like, Penn State under Matt Campbell, I'm not going to sit here and pretend Matt Campbell's not a good head coach. That man is a great head coach. I got to give him that. Matt Campbell is an amazing head coach. But at the end of the day, and I think he'll do great at Penn State. And he also has ties to the state of Ohio. So that'll tell me straight up that when it comes down to it, he will be a problem for Ohio State. Now, I think he'll be a playoff contender as well. I think he'll make Penn State a playoff contender. I don't know how many playoff games he'll win, but I know for dang sure that Matt Campbell's a good head coach, what he's able to do at Iowa State. And I think he can carry it to Penn State at a higher level in a sense. So if you ask me, I think Penn State is set up for the next 3 years to be a good football team. Now, when we're talking about Miami, I think they're going to be set up for the next 3 years as well. I will not lie about that. I think they're set up for the next 3 years as well. They are. They're set up for the next 3 years. They're set up for the next 3 years. Now, here's the other thing. I do not trust Mario Cristobal. I need to see how this man can replace his coaches, because that's the biggest thing I have on him. It is. I got to see Campbell do it before I believe it. I get you, Troy. I understand. I want to see him do it too, but I can also understand the fact that he's a great coach. So I've seen him coach, and I believe he can do it. So, I believe Penn State under him will be good for the next 3 years. I believe they'll be playoff contenders. I don't think they'll make the playoffs every year, but they'll be playoff contenders under Matt Campbell. I do. And not to mention, I do think Matt Campbell's a better coach than James Franklin to an extent. So, it is what it is, regardless of how people feel about it, but I'm just being honest. But Miami, again, my point about Miami is I got to see Mario Cristobal do it consistently. Like, I'm so tired of seeing people say that U is back. Like, brother, I'm tired of this. Miami, you went there 1 year. That does not mean you are the best freaking football team in the land, brother. You still have ways to go, because Mario Cristobal got a lot to prove right now. He do. He's got a lot to prove, because he just lost one of his coaches. He finally gets his coaching staff right, and then he loses one of them. I need to see Mario Cristobal, like Ryan Day, like Kirby Smart, regardless of how we feel about him, replace his coaches that he loses. Because why is it that I have Ohio State number 1, like I said? It's because of how consistent they are and how they replace coaches that they lost. And look, they still replace Brian Hartline. Like, look, there will never be another Brian Hartline. Brian Hartline is the greatest position coach. We're one of the top 3 greatest position coaches of all time. You can even argue he's the greatest. The only other guy you can give the argument to is freaking Larry Johnson. Those 2 right there are the greatest. And replacing them is not going to be easy, but you still can get good coaches who might not be able to do what they did at the highest level the way they did, but they'll still do it at an elite level like every other coach that has come before those guys. But Ohio State can replace those guys. Mario Cristobal, I got to see if you can replace your guys. I do not trust this guy's coach yet. I do not trust him. And not only that, I do not trust Miami as a team either. Because anybody who looks at last year and thinks that that makes them a good team, I'm like, dude, they lost 2 games to 2 teams they shouldn't have lost to. Like, they could have did the 9-3 again. So, like, before, I need to see it from Mario Cristobal, where for the next 3 years, Miami will be a good football team. They will be playoff contenders, but I will not trust Mario Cristobal above any of these other coaches, even Matt Campbell, until I see him show me that he can hire a good coaching staff. I need him to show me that. If he can hire a great coaching staff, we good. If he can keep it up, he good. He could probably even move up on this list, even higher than Notre Dame. Higher than Indiana, maybe. But I got to see him do it on a consistent basis before I can believe that that Miami can be above any of these teams. That even includes Penn State. So, But that's my top 10 list. Who do you guys think? And there are other schools you probably could put on this list other than just these 10. Who do you guys think should be on this list? Who do you think has the best future moving forward for the next 3 years of college football? I want you guys to tell me that in the comment section as well. And I will be reading your comments. I don't always respond, but I do read them. So, and I might respond to them whenever I have the opportunity. So understand this. Put all your comments, put all of you in the comment section down below. Who do you think has the greatest rivalry between Ohio State and Alabama, between Ohio State and Michigan, the game versus the Auburn game of Alabama versus Auburn? Who do you think will have the best season, who has the best future in college football for the next 3 years out of any of those teams? Or any team that wasn't on that list, you could put them in the chat. And even give me your comment about the Brendan Sorsby situation and how you feel about it. Anything in the chat. You can also give me your feelings about the saying, disrespect, anything. Put it all in the comment section down below. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Spectrum Podcast. My co-host James, he will be back next Sunday. And I promise you guys we're going to have even more to talk about because there is a lot more to talk about for next week. Now, right now, there isn't much I have planned fully, but I will say that we can talk about a lot of news that comes out throughout the Sunday week. So I promise you guys, tune in to the show. Thank you guys for tuning in again. Come back, listen, like, share, subscribe, turn on those notifications so you guys never miss an episode. And make sure you guys follow me on Facebook, follow me on X, subscribe to the Spectrum channel. You guys can see the links down below. And you guys also make sure you subscribe to the OHL podcast. I will be on the OHL podcast at 7 o'clock in Chicago time, 8 o'clock in Ohio time, Eastern time. And we will be discussing pretty much something regarding Ohio State, like a whole new level of everything. Hey, thanks, Troy. Great. Thanks, man. I look forward to see you guys on the OHL podcast, and I will see you guys later, all right? So peace. Spectrum out.
Walking through the neon in the middle of the night, every color hidden different in the pale moonlight. I see the violet bleeding in the shades of deepest blue, a prismatic vision of a world that's feeling new. My heartbeat is syncing with the flashing of the signs, tracing out the movement of these geometric lines. From the infrared heat to the ultraviolet glow, I'm catching every frequency, I'm moving with the flow. There's a rhythm in the static, there's a logic in the noise, finding my direction through the balance and the poise. It's that spectrum vibe, yeah, we're living in the light, breaking through the prism, shining beautiful and bright. From the shadows to the summit, every color has a name. In the spectrum of the spirit, no two souls are quite the same. Yeah, we're riding on the wave, caught inside the golden hue. Spectrum vibes are calling out to me and calling you.